first habit that you should create going into 2020 is the habit of daily affirming your goals. Daily affirming your goals. And I added one more thing, affirming your annual theme. Annual theme. Now, most of you know about affirmation. Most of you guys know what it means to affirm a goal. If you don't, real quickly, what I mean by that is whatever goal that you have going in right now, you have not completed that goal. An affirmation is a statement as if you have completed that goal. So, for example, if I had a goal around my well-being to lose 10 pounds, then affirming that goal would be something like this. I am happy and grateful that I feel phenomenal physically and that I am now operating on a daily basis at my goal weight. And that's the affirmation. You don't have to say how much you weigh. All you're saying is I feel great right now and I'm operating at my affirmed or my ideal weight. Okay. That's an affirmation. Now, people say affirmations don't work. There's a lot of, back and forth about affirmations and, should you say them, does it bring up the fact that you don't have it in your mind? And let me tell you the scientific reason why affirmations work if you use them. Affirmations work because the way the brain works and the way our thoughts work breaks down into three different areas. You have your conscious mind, you have your subconscious mind, and then you have this third area of the mind where memories and all that stuff is happening. Okay. This is where you pack away those long-term memories from when you were 2-3 years old. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the conscious and subconscious mind. Okay. Now, the subconscious mind is what plays things in the background. This is what, has things, as you watch them, it takes it in. And that's why you dream certain things. You're like, why I dreamed that? Well, the reason you dreamed it is because somewhere along the way, you took that information into your mind. Watching a television show, watching the news, and the subconscious is playing that stuff. Now, here's the thing. The subconscious doesn't know what's real and what's not real, which is why it's so important that you watch what you watch. Okay. And because it doesn't know what's real and not real, you can actually program it to believe something is real that's not real. For instance, that you are in great health and operating at your ideal weight. The subconscious will begin to believe that. And so then it's going to start sending you programs to the conscious mind to actively take on what it believes, that I am healthy and operating at my ideal weight. So eating habits, things like that can be impacted by affirmations. But here's the other reason. One of the major reasons, and I talk about this in my book, Slay Your Goals. Again, if you haven't read the book, be sure to go to slayyourgoals.com and download the book. But one of the reasons why many people do not accomplish their goals is because they forget them. They forget their goals. I'm serious. Hey, I'm a coach. I work with a lot of people. One of the number one reasons people do not accomplish goals is because they simply forget them. Now, how does a person forget a goal? Because it's a brand new intention. It's a brand new idea. And if you're not reminding yourself of that idea every day, then guess what it will do? It will slip away. Gone. And that's one of the ways that resistance and invisible barriers work. If you're not intentional every day, it will basically allow the goal to slip away. So that's another reason. Now, here's something else to consider. I talked about creating the habit of affirming your annual theme. Now, I've had an annual theme for as long as I can remember. And here's what an annual theme is. All right. An annual theme is a little witty saying that you have for the year. For instance, living my dreams in 2019, annual theme. So as I'm going through the year, then I'm just thinking about my annual theme. It comes to my mind. Maybe I'm discouraged. It comes to my mind. I can't be discouraged. This year is about living my dreams in 2019. This is the year. So I'm affirming my annual theme every day. Every time I'm thinking about what I'm up to, every time I'm looking to create new goals, every time I'm taking on the actions of those goals, every time I'm taking on the routine of those goals, I'm thinking about my annual theme. Because what we do know is that what we accomplish has a lot to do with our mindset. And so what I'm basically doing is priming my brain. Annual theme. So what's my annual theme for 2020? Now, it's still up for debate. I talk to my wife about these things, but right now, breakthroughs and possibilities in 2020. That's the theme. That's what I'm going with. You can take it too. We can all have it. But you want to have something that's specific to you. But for me, breakthroughs and new possibilities. That's what I'm looking at. Really pushing the envelope. In 2020, one of the things I want to do is create something that makes me scared again and go after it. So breakthroughs and possibilities. A breakthrough means just basically breaking through an area where I've been stuck, a place where I've been working. And so breakthroughs and brand new possibilities in 2020. That's what I'm looking at for the annual theme. Now, we're starting off easy. Write this down. One of the habits that you should have going into 2020 is a habit of affirming your annual theme. Real simple. Little rhyme that you can remember, that you can fall back on, because let me tell you, every year the same thing happens. You get punched in the gut. I know I've been punched in the gut. And if you don't have something to pull you back up, if you don't have a why, then you might hit the deck. I don't know about you. I'm not trying to hit nobody's deck. I want to keep pushing, keep fighting. And so one of the things that helps me to keep pushing and keep fighting is my mentality. So the first habit is to solidify your mentality by affirming your goals and creating an annual theme. That's number one. One of the things that has become very clear for me is that a lot of you all are not aware of your health. You're not aware. You're not aware of yourself. You're not aware of your health. I've heard a number of times this year, people say things like, I didn't realize I gained so much weight. Or, man, when did I become this unhealthy? Like asking themselves the question around their health and well-being, like, when did this happen to me? And what I've been present to is that many of us are not aware of ourselves. Now, I don't know about you, but if there's a habit that we should be taking into the new year, I would say that habit is the habit of doing a health and wellness check at least once a week. How do I feel? Like just checking in with yourself. But I would say it should be every day. Like every day, you should be checking in with yourself. Headaches aren't normal, folks. Like, you should, if you're having a headache every day, then you should do something about that. You should say, I don't want headaches anymore. Joint pain is not normal, folks. That is an indication of some level of sickness and acidity. If you're feeling pain, you should want to do something about that. You should be aware of that and actively working to reduce the amount of pain you have. This is what I would call an act of self-love. So what I did to help us in terms of health and well-being awareness is I broke this down into 3 L's. Health and well-being awareness is made up of, number 1, love yourself. Number 2, look at yourself. And number 3, listen to yourself. Now let's walk through them. Love yourself. Well, when you think about love, right? Love is this reciprocal, way of being. So when I think about loving my wife, often I'm making sacrifices in the act of love. Okay? In the act of love. Now, why would I make a sacrifice in relationship in the act of love? I'm making that sacrifice because there's a reciprocal effect. Let's be clear. Human beings are selfish. All right? If you're not willing to admit that there's some level of selfishness that you have, then you're really not aware. Okay? And there's 2 kinds of selfishness. There's a selfishness that actually benefits you and benefits others. And there's a selfishness that benefits no one, often including you. All right. Now, in the selfishness that benefits me and others, that's what love is like, right? Now, I know that if I sacrifice in this area, that there are mutually beneficial things that happen in my relationship with my wife that make me happy because she's happy. Okay. That is the act of loving. Now, when we talk about loving ourselves, it's really no different. The act of loving oneself is the willingness to sacrifice for the greater good of self. Hear me out. For the greater good of self. And what's happened in our society, we've been hit by so much this idea of instant gratification, where we've been overwhelmed by this thing. And because we can get so much whenever we want it, many of us are no longer loving ourselves. We're only doing what feels good. And again, think about this. In a marriage, me as a husband, if I were the kind of husband that only did the things that felt good to me, ask yourself, would I be in a healthy relationship? Think about that. If as a husband, I only did the things that felt good to me, would I be in a healthy relationship? Now, most of you all, you're shaking your head no. Like, no, that wouldn't work. Linal, if it was all about you and how you felt, you would not be in a healthy relationship. You would say that's an unhealthy relationship. Now, I want you to flip it. When it comes to you, if you're only doing the things that make you feel good, then are you in a healthy relationship with yourself? Think about that. Because some of the things you're doing, they should be difficult, right? If you're actually loving yourself. Some of the things you're doing should require sacrifice if you're actually loving yourself. Some of the things that you're doing should require a, no, I'm not going to do that. That's not going to be good for me, because you're in the practice of self-love. So when I talk about this habit of health and well-being awareness, now it comes down to, are you willing to sacrifice and love on yourself? Sacrifice and love yourself. Are you willing to make that part of your habit going into 2020? But there's another piece. So love yourself. Remember 3 L's. Love yourself. Look at yourself. Listen to yourself. When I say look at yourself, that's really what I mean. See, in order for you to not realize you picked up that weight, that means that you're not really looking at yourself. In order for you to not realize that you've aged significantly. See, people, what happens is we check out. We're checking out. We're not even paying attention to ourselves. We go 6-9 months, a bunch of stuff happened. And then one day we really look at ourselves in the mirror and we go, oh my, what happened? I didn't know. Where'd this hair come from? And we're like all shocked because we weren't a part of the process. You weren't a part of the process. You weren't looking at yourself. I mean, really physically looking at yourself, being fully present to you. Fully present to you. Again, we're talking about the 7 habits to take into 2020. Now, you might ask someone out there saying, Linal, people don't look at themselves like that. You know, that might not be you. But for those of you who it is, you know who you are. You know you're not looking at yourself. You know you're not paying attention to yourself. And you also know the reasons why. See, because here's the thing. When you're fully present, then what happens is when you're fully aware, then what happens is that awareness drives choice. So if I'm fully aware of what's happening for me physically, then it's going to drive some level of dissatisfaction. Like if I'm fully aware that I have more weight on my body than I used to have a month ago, or maybe you noticed just this weekend, you looked at yourself in the mirror sideways and you said, I did a little too much Thursday and Friday, a little too much. What happens immediately is a sense of dissatisfaction. Now, I'm not talking about body shaming yourself. I'm not talking about any of those things. I'm talking about just being healthy, vibrant, and energetic. What do you need to do? Okay, I'm not talking about any of those things, but being present to your intention that you have for yourself, for your health. Being present, being aware. Look at yourself. Be physically aware and also able to identify your bad habits. So here's something else that I notice. People don't know when they have an affliction. And this is the benefit of being around family. So I've been around family and friends Wednesday, my brother and a bunch of family and friends. We went out for Black Wednesday. This is the first time I've been out in a while in Chicago. I was just like, wow, this is the club scene, huh? Interesting. But I went out, okay? And I noticed behaviors. I'm watching people. I'm watching them drink. I'm like, man, that's a lot. Whew. How do you walk? Noticing people's bad habits. But I don't think they know it's a bad habit, right? Thursday, moving around from family to family. And, man, noticing the consumption of alcohol. Friday at, house gatherings and things like that, noticing the consumption of alcohol, consumption of other things, right? And I'm just kind of like, like, are people aware that they have these type of habits? And are you aware that they come out in public like that? See, because the thing is, when you have a habit, it's a habit. And so you just you do what you do. You make that same little path to the bar, pour, go back, sit down, sip. Oh, no, there's nothing left. Same little path to the bar, pour, go sit back down, sip. And some people aren't even aware. They're not even aware. Next thing you know, the fifth is gone. And everybody's looking around and they looking at you and you like, not me. I didn't do that. Yeah, you did. Now, I'm using alcohol as an example, but we all have a bad habit. What's one of your bad habits? And do you really want to take that into 2020? Ask yourself, because when you think about the habit of health and well-being awareness, now you got to begin to look all around you. Again, remember the 3 L's. Love on yourself, look at yourself, listen to yourself. So look at yourself, notice your bad habits, and be physically aware. Now let's talk about listening to yourself. Here's what I mean by listening to yourself. The body sends us signals. You know when you're tired. Problem is, most of us aren't listening because we got Starbucks. Some of you all, you're exhausted. this morning. This holiday weekend has done a number on you. And you knew you were tired the whole time, but you never stopped. And the reason you didn't stop is because you don't listen to yourself. You don't listen to yourself. When your body says, I'm tired, it shows you with heavy eyes. It shows you with, sluggish ways. It shows you when you wake up that, man, your body's trying to talk to you. And you like, pour coffee, shut up. Shut up, body. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep making it happen. We're going to keep pushing. And then when you get into this week and you get sick, people will be like, well, what happened? How did I get sick? You got sick because you ignored yourself. You weren't listening to yourself. That little scratch in the back of your throat, you just ignored it. You kept operating on top. You kept pouring stuff on top of it. Painkillers, Advil. Y'all know how we do. One of the habits that you want to take into 2020 with this awareness of your health and well-being is a new habit to listen to yourself. Just listen to yourself. Love on yourself. Look at yourself and listen to yourself to drive new levels of awareness in your own health and well-being. When you love on yourself, what will you give up? What sacrifice will you make in 2020? When you look at yourself, what do you see? And what dissatisfaction does it drive? And how can you go after that in 2020? I'm not talking about from a place of deprivation and self-hate. I'm talking about from just a loving place. And then when you listen to yourself, what do you hear? What do you need? What do you really need? Some of you guys are, if you just listen to yourself, you're thirsty. You're not even drinking water. Man, we were in Ghana. I'm going to end with this, and Don and Maurice, I'm going to catch you guys at the top of the hour. We were in Ghana, and one of the travelers, started feeling a certain kind of way, and we asked, are you drinking water? They said, nah, I don't really drink water. Like, what do you mean you don't drink water? Oh, well, I don't really like water. I don't drink water. And we went in on the bus on this traveler. And by the end of the trip, they made a commitment to drink more water. And where they are, it's, get this, one bottle of water a day. Got to start on gradients. But I'm like, what will you give me? Give me something. One bottle a day, I'll take it if you're not drinking any water at all. Now, some of you right now, you're thinking, no water? People go without no water? Let me tell you something. In surveys, 7% of people are not drinking water. They're not even listening to their thirst. Or when they get thirsty, when they do hear thirst, they're drinking soda. Let me give you something that you could do real quick to lose weight in 2020. Real simple. If you did this, you lose weight. If you put down soda in 2020, all carbonated drinks, all carbonated sugary drinks, if you stopped in 2020 and only drank water, you would lose 15 pounds easy in 2020. Consistent, you would lose 15 pounds. And get this, did you know that a habit of drinking soda every year is causing you to gain 15 pounds every year? 15 pounds from 2018 on top of 15 pounds for 2019 on top of 15 pounds coming for 2020 for people who drink soda. That's how dangerous that stuff is. But real quick, here's another reason. Here's a few more reasons why you should drink water. I mean, if you want to, you could just take this habit. If the health and well-being thing seems too hard, we're going to end with this going into the top hour, and then we'll cover the last 5 habits to take into 2020. But the benefits of water lubricates your joints. Water delivers oxygen throughout the body, which means that it helps your brain. Water cushions the brain, cushions the spinal cord. So if you have back pain, might be because of lack of water. Water helps with the digestive system, helps maintain blood pressure, prevents kidney damage, boosts performance, Weight loss. Just talked about that. And guess what? For those of you who drink, reduces hangovers. 7 habits that you should take into 2020. When we come back, we'll talk about habit number 3. Number 3, keeping your space organized and clean. Keeping your space organized and clean is number 3. Now, where am I going with keeping your space organized and clean as a habit? Why would that matter? Well, a couple of things. There's proof that our environment has an impact on our thoughts. And so some of you right now, I mean, I've asked clients this. They were like, oh, I'm so, I just feel so bewildered and so confused. I'm like, well, how does your home look? What's around you? No, I need to do better. Okay, well, why don't we start there? Why don't we start right there? Some of us going into 2020, before you start setting those real big goals, it might be just simply getting organized and cleaning your space. Just get organized, clean your space. Some of you can't throw out the bad habits of your life because you haven't even physically thrown out the garbage in your life. And I mean, real talk garbage. I mean, you haven't used this stuff in 10 years, but somewhere you think I'm going to use this. You're enough, not enough, cognitive distortion. Remember we talked about cognitive distortions and mental illusions. Your illusion that you're going to lose everything and need to go through that stack of 10-year-old newspapers, and you're going to find exactly what you need in that stack. Like your illusion that is true has kept you from truly cleaning out your space. But if you really believed that you were walking into abundance in 2020, that you were taken care of and that you were going to create your goals, would you need that stuff? Would you need those things? If you truly believed that you could take action that would transform your life, then you wouldn't need those old clothes in the closet. You can give them away. Give them away. You wouldn't need that stuff. You're not going to run out because you're operating with abundance. You're operating with a life where you create because you declare and because you say so. But some of us, we're an episode away from hoarders. And I'm joking, but I'm not. I'm joking, but I'm not. Where for you, it's time for you to just clean your space, because if you clean your space physically around you, then it will open up brand new spiritual opportunities to create. But you have this desire to create spiritually. You have this desire to take yourself to the next level, to take your life to the next level, and your desk is not clean. Your workspace is not organized. Everything is everywhere. You don't know where stuff is. If you don't know where the critical things in your life today are, how are you going to find what's next? Simple habit number 3. What if you just started cleaning and organizing the spaces in your life that matter? And let me give you a couple of places to look. One, just your living space. Where do you spend the most time? How does that room look? Like maybe this is your lounge space, this is your relaxation space. And by the way, we get to relax. That's a part of the regeneration process so we can be productive. So when you're relaxing, are you relaxing in clutter? Because if you are, like, you can never truly relax because there's something in the back of your mind that knows that needs to be handled. And it's been needing to be handled for the last week. It's been needing to be handled for the last month. It's been needing to be handled for the last year. It's been needing to be handled for some of you for the last 10 years. It's time to clean it up. It's time to let it go. Let it go. So you can focus on what's new. Focus on what you're going to create. What about your workspace? Some of you have paper stacked from 4 or 5 years ago that you're still going to go through. I'm still going to get through it. I'm still going to read that. But what you don't realize is, one, you may not ever get to it, and two, you're tethered. You can't powerfully move forward in 2020 because you're tethered to all this old stuff that you keep thinking about, that you didn't do, that you mean to do, that you wanted to do, that you're going to eventually get to. And that's running through your mind. That's blogging up your subconscious. And every time you're looking to create what's next, you're wondering, why is it that I can't focus? Clean your space. Just clean your space. Get organized. Some of you, when you talk about cleaning and getting organized, it's time to clean certain people out your life. This woman's been bringing you down for the last 3 to 4 years, and you know it. She's done drained your savings account. She's helped you create brand new bad habits. I mean, you know you need to clean up your life. But you just keep holding on, keep saying it's going to work out, keep saying, and you know it's time. You know you can't take that into 2020. Some of you, you know that he's toxic. You know this man has been part of the reason why you have low self-esteem. You know that part of the reason you can't accomplish your goals is because he's the drag in your life. It's time to clean him up. And guess what? It's time to clean up, and it's time to stay clean. Like, that should be a part of your routine. It should be a habit. It should be a habit where you're constantly surveying your space, constantly surveying the people around you, constantly asking yourself, do they serve my purpose? You know, another way is, are they helping my relationship with God? Because your purpose is through God, right? So are they helping my relationship? Are they serving my purpose? And if they're not serving my purpose, then maybe it's time for me to move on so I can accomplish the things I know I need to accomplish. Maybe that's the drag. Maybe that's the weight. Get rid of them papers. Turn over those boxes. Don't go into 2020 with all that stuff. Go ahead and tell her it's over. I'm done. It's time for me to go. Go ahead and tell them you're not doing that to me anymore. No more standing me up. No more leaving me out to hang. That's over. I'm going to value myself. I'm cleaning my space as I go into 2020. Habit number 3, keep your space and your life organized and clean. I mean, that's a habit. Like, let me tell you something, man. That's a habit. You create that habit. Life will have a different flow. There's no doubt about it. Life will have a completely different flow. Let's move on to habit number 4. Here's this habit. Reading. Now, there's no doubt that there's plenty of information available to us through video. I mean, right now I'm broadcasting through video. There's no question. Lots of great information on YouTube, lots of great information on television. Just because you turn the television on doesn't mean that you cannot be getting educated. But there's something special about reading as a habit. As a matter of fact, most of the minds that we recognize as great, that we recognize as in many ways, vanguards and bulwarks in our society are readers, leaders. They say leaders are readers. Now, what I want to do, I just want to cover the benefits of reading, and why we should spend time reading. First, it sharpens your mind. By concentrating on words and a storyline, it actually stimulates the brain. I've had people say, Linal, I have a hard time focusing for a certain amount of time. One of the ways that you can increase your levels of focus is by reading. Reading also increases your vocabulary. So now, you have access to new words, new ways of saying things. But get this, reading also lowers stress. You ever wonder why people take a good book to the beach? Because the water hitting the sand on the beach is already going to lower the stress. But then if they're sitting there reading, they just kind of notice that they come out of that in a relaxed, calm state. Reading has a meditative quality to it. It lowers your stress. Reading also decreases depression. Especially, get this, self-help books can help ward off depressive occurrences. Because what it does is it lowers the stress levels in your body. It stimulates the part of the brain that deals with depression. How about that? So something else that reading helps with. Reading improves memory and focus. And reading also strengthens your writing abilities. You become a better writer the more you read. Reading enhances your imagination. I've been reading before. I've had phenomenal business ideas. It enhances your imagination, what's possible, creates new possibility. For those of you who have trouble sleeping, turn off the iPad at night and consider reading a book, because reading boosts your sleep. Because it relaxes and de-stresses you, it helps pull you into a deeper and more peaceful state of mind that is actually helpful for sleep. Reading also allows you to enjoy your entertainment in peace. It brings entertainment and the ability to disconnect in a very peaceful way. Television can be stressful. They have, people dying. You don't know what's going to happen. You go to sleep on that. You wonder why you're jittering in your sleep, having nightmares. Reading can actually create a level of entertainment that brings peace. And last but not least, reading can literally brighten your day. It can increase the optimism with which you approach a day. Reading. Habit number 4 that we should take into 2020, read a little more. Just read a bit more. Now, let me give you one of the things I do that allows me to get through a number of books. Now, one of them is I do listen to audiobooks. I'm an audiobook person. What I find is that when I figure out that the audiobook is really good, then I want to go get the physical book. I actually want to read it because I want to make sure when I read things, they get stuck up here. It's one of the reasons I can repeat quotes. I can recall information. I read that information and it gets stuck up here when I read it. One of my ways of learning is visual. And so I see it on paper. It hits my brain and I can pretty much repeat the data, the stats, you name it, if I read it. Okay. And so audiobooks, I use audio to inform me of whether a topic is worthy of me to read it. That's kind of how I go. Once I figure out that it's good, I get the book. Now, because I want to retain that information. Okay. But I can get through a number of books, and I can actually get through books that I may not want to read by listening to it on audio. Okay. But one of the things I do to read at minimum a book or two a month is I read 10 pages a day of a book. 10 pages. That's it. So at some point, I'll take 30 minutes. I'll sit down. I'll read 10 pages. And then after that, I'll close the book. This is one of the ways I've gotten through really big, thick books that I didn't necessarily want to read, but I knew there was information that I needed. Really really big book. It's called like Oxford's Guide to Positive Psychology. Man, thick book. How do I get through this? 10 pages a day. 10 pages a day. Just kind of, and in this case, I said, you know what? 10 pages is a bit too much for me. I'm going to read just a page a day. Highlight the things that I like in the book and then move to the next page. But here's the thing. In 2 years, the book can be read. If that's, if that's something that's important to you. But just the routine, 10 pages a day. By the end of a month, that's 300 pages. Most books average about 250 pages. Some average about 200. That could be a book and a half a month if you just do that. And by the way, sometimes I go over 10 pages because the book is good. And you know what? The next day I come back and do 10 pages again. So just ways to think about reading and getting through books, little tricks that I use to get through a lot of reading material. Number 5, the fifth habit, manage your inputs. Manage your inputs. Now, my wife gave me a very specific way to talk about this this morning. She was like, you talked about this before during the holidays and it was so good. Hopefully I can live up to her expectations. But here's what I talked about in terms of inputs. If you don't believe that inputs are powerful, and again, for anybody, you've never heard me talk about inputs and outputs before. First, let me set the premise of an input. An input is anything that you see, that you watch, anything that you eat and digest, and anything that you hear. These are your inputs. So when I say manage your inputs, the other way to say this is to manage your inputs for phenomenal output. Like if I want high level, right? Like just fantastic output, that means I need high level, fantastic input, right? This is the way the universe works. We all know this. Like there's nothing to even argue about here. Okay. It's just like my car. My car takes 93 octane fuel. It's a performance luxury vehicle. Requires 93 octane fuel. The reason is because if I input the high quality fuel, then the output is efficient running, right? The engine is running efficiently and is running at its maximum capabilities. All right. So another way of saying is, what is your fuel? And in 2020, you want to take the habit of managing your fuel in 2020. Literally your fuel, right? Because what you watch fuels your thoughts. What you listen to fuels your thoughts. And what you eat fuels or hurts your body. You ever put bad gas in your car? Like you ever get a bad batch of gas? I have, maybe water got into the tanks down there. And so you're riding and, the car is like sputtering. Like it doesn't have that normal flow when you hit the gas where it just takes off. It's like, you're like, what's going on? Because it's misfiring. Like you can't really, if your car had bad gas in it and you jumped on the expressway in front of a truck, you might get rear-ended. You might get taken out. Some of us, we got bad fuel in our systems and we're trying to jump in front of the trucks of life and we're trying to figure out why we weren't successful. I haven't changed any inputs, but I'm going to quit my job and become an entrepreneur in 2020. I haven't changed the input. I still watch the same things. I still listen to the same things. None of it is good for me. I still eat the same stuff, but somehow magically, I'm going to create a brand new different life in 2020. I'm going to quit my job. You better not. You're running on bad fuel. And if you jump in front of that truck, you're going to crash. You might want to change your inputs first. See, because doing fantastic things require fantastic fuel. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So if if I want to do fantastic things, I want to share fantastic things, I want to have fantastic thoughts, then that means I need fantastic fuel. I need to be reading fantastic things. I need to be watching fantastic, phenomenal, wonderful things for me. I need to be listening to things that will increase me, that will help me. Those of you listening right now, right? Things that will take you to the next level. But guess what else? I need to be eating that way too. Many of us, we got everything else right but our diet. And our diet is pulling us down. Headaches, fog, lack of focus, exhaustion, fatigue, because I can't get that input right. You want to have a fantastic year? You got to have fantastic inputs. That's number 5. Your inputs. Now, I didn't tell this the way my wife told me to, so let me tell it the way my wife told me to. She told me to tell it this way. So another perspective on inputs. I want you to think about the holidays, okay? And one of the reasons most of us, some of us, when it comes to the holidays, it's a tough time, bad memories. But for most of us, when we come into the holidays, man, it's something about December. Even though it's cold outside in a big ray, we're happy. We walk through the mall, there are lights sparkling, input. People are smiling, input. Holiday music is going, input. There's joy, like literally the word joy on doors, on windows. There's happy holidays, literally the word happy holidays on thresholds, on signs. And these are inputs. And you wonder why this is the most wonderful time of the year. But one of the reasons it's the most wonderful time of the year is because we're bombarded by inputs from the media, from marketing that are telling us it's time for you to feel good. It's time for you to be happy. It's time to experience the joy of the season. Open up your purses, open up your wallets, and spend your money with joy. Spend your money with glee. Buy for others and give, right? They're telling you that because they want you to be in a certain mode when you walk into the department stores. They want you to be in a certain way of thinking. And this is one of the reasons why the holidays are so enjoyable. It's your inputs. But by the way, it's the unintentional inputs around you. You're not hanging all those signs yourself. Other people are doing it. You walk into Target, as soon as you walk in, there's red and white and happy holidays and 'tis the season. All these wonderful things, right? And you're just kind of like, I feel warm. I feel happy. I feel good this time of the year. Your inputs. So imagine if you can create an environment like that all year round. What if when you woke up every day, there was something on your mirror, on your vanity mirror that said, you're beautiful. Smile, gorgeous. You put that there. Your input. Like you can create your own inputs. What if when you sat in the car, there was something on the dashboard that said, smile, you're blessed. You got 4 wheels you're sitting on. You about to go somewhere. Like what if that's what you were feeding yourself every day? Just putting these beautiful signs, thoughts, affirmations around yourself. What if the things you chose to watch on purpose uplifted you, made you feel better, gave you a sense of optimism, just encouraged you? What if on a regular basis you listen to music that moves your spirit, actually made you feel good, made you think about what it is you want to accomplish in your life? Like how would things change for you? Would you only be happy during the most wonderful, quote unquote, time of the year? Or could you be happy all year long? Could you be productive all year long? Could you be in a giving spirit all year long? Your inputs. Number 5 on the list of the 7 habits to take into 2020 is to take fantastic, phenomenal inputs into 2020 and use them over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, let's move to number 6. Again, if you want to share something, some level of support you want to have in 2020, give me a phone call, 312-374-8130. We got 4 Sundays left. I'll be here. Actually, I'm missing one Sunday because the family and I, we're getting away. But the rest of them, the other 3, I'll be here. What do you want to hear? What do you want to hear? How do you want to prepare? How can I help you prepare for 2020? For my Slay Your Goals members, man, we about to have a good month. We got some nice stuff planned. Want to become a member? Go to slayyourgoals.com. Haven't bought your Murder Mediocrity Summit tickets yet? Man, you got until Monday night, 75% off. You got until Monday night. Man, you think you like this broadcast? You think you like what I share on these shows, man. That summit is something. One day, one whole day of inspiration, transformation, coaching, support coaches. I mean, all the things you need to transform your life. Okay. Number 6, the 6th habit that you should take into 2020, reflection. There is no self-development. I've shared this before. There is no self-development without the ability to reflect. Right now, if you set up some time today, it don't even take a lot, just to get away. Maybe you just, you step down into, you're in the basement by yourself and you sit on the couch. Maybe you go up to the room, whatever works for you in terms of getting away. And you think about how the holidays went. Who were you? Did you show up the way you intended to show up? How did your interactions go? Could you have done something better? Did you notice some things about yourself you didn't like? Maybe you did eat too much. Maybe you did drink too much. But as you reflect on it, are you clear on why? See, the beauty of reflection is it gives us the opportunity to take in ourselves. I'm not saying go and assess everybody else's actions or inaction. I'm saying you reflect. It is imperative that you build in time to reflect. I've been jotting down these little observations about warriors. So coming in 2020, I'm going to be bringing something to you about the way of the warrior, like what it means to be a warrior. But anyway, I've been jotting down these little things and making these little notes and memos about warriors, right? It's just something that's been in my space. Because I believe most of us want to relate to ourselves as a warrior in some way, a warrior for something, a warrior for people's goals, a warrior for people's purpose, a warrior for parents, a warrior. We all are warriors for different things. My wife is a warrior for speakers, for aspiring speakers, so we're all warriors for different things. And when you think about the warrior, there is no warrior that survives a battle that they don't reflect on. Like if they survive that battle, a warrior, a real warrior who really values life, values their life, their ability to get better, their ability and the fact that they've actually taken life, right? We're talking about warriors. The warrior is going to sit back and reflect on the battle. What did I do well? What am I proud of? Where could I have been better? Where did I put myself at risk? For instance, after the summit every year, we do a SWOT analysis. So what we do with the team is we identify the strengths. What went really well? Like, what are the things that really made the summit work? But then after we identify the strengths, then we go back and we say, now, what were the weaknesses? What were the things that we meant to execute on, but we didn't do it so well? Like this is something that could be a problem later, but right now we just need to make sure that we make it better. We put some structure around that thing to make sure that it becomes a strength in 2020. And then we ask ourselves, and what are the opportunities? What are the things that, we didn't account for, that we didn't see coming, that we could have done better when it came? What are the opportunities that we have that we need to make sure that we pay attention to? But then we also ask ourselves, what are the threats? What are the things that could hurt our credibility, that could actually, make the summit or take the summit in a direction that is not meant to go in? What are the threats? Reflection. Number 6 is reflection. Number 7, planning. Proper planning prevents poor performance. You ever heard that before? I think they call it the 6 P's. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Man, I can't tell you the power of having a plan. I believe I shared it some time ago when I gave the case study for setting goals. So let me give the case study one more time. Good morning, Sharon. How are you?
Good morning, Linal. This is Sharon. One of the things I'm needing support with is with finding work. So I'm an HR professional, and I do a lot of these things that you have as the 7 habits. But I've been out of work here for 10 months, and I was doing some consulting, and I worked with you for a short time. And but then funds is running really low here. So I'm trying not to settle for like just another consulting job because I'm looking for.
Were you a Slayer Goals member?
I was, yes.
Ah, okay. I remember you. Yep.
Yes. And so now I'm trying to figure out, I have these goals. I do a lot of the things on the list here, but I'm not making any headway. And I feel like, because I told myself I'm not going to settle for a job. I'm looking for a particular HR position at a certain level, but I feel like all of the doors are closing, the obstacles, that you mentioned. And like, what can I do now for 2020 to get past some of these obstacles? And I'm trying to network with, people through LinkedIn and going to networking events, and I'm just trying all different kind of things to meet people.
I got you. So here's what I'm going to share with you, Sharon. And you know what? It's something I should talk about. Personal integrity. You remember us talking about that in your coaching?
Yes.
You do? Okay. Personal integrity. Your intentions, your actions, your speaking, all aligned. One of the things I would tell you is to do a personal integrity check. Like, where are your intentions not matching your actions, not matching your speaking? And just look through these different areas. But most importantly, what I'm curious about is, and you know what? Actually, I'm going to send you an email. I think I still have your email address. I'll make a note here. I'll send you an email. I'll send that to you.
Okay.
But personal integrity. Get clear on your personal integrity. Whenever there's a power glitch in your life where you're not creating what it is you intend to create, typically it means that personal integrity is out somewhere. When I say personal integrity, I don't mean integrity. I mean your personal integrity, your alignment with your word.
Okay.
Your alignment with your word and the actions and speaking that you're taking, all connected to that. So take a look there. And then when I reach out to you, you can email me back what you see.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Let's go to line 2. Tracy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
How are you?
Okay. Just want to say really appreciate your show each Sunday. I get up here in California at 5 o'clock to listen to you, and so I really appreciate it.
Wow.
And so what I wanted to ask, and what I think I need help on, is I heard you a few weeks ago said that you helped someone stop coffee. And so maybe we should have a show on that, on sugar and coffee. So those are two bad things that I do. So
I got you.
That's something I wanted to ask. Do you drink coffee? You don't drink coffee, right?
I drink coffee, but but I use it as a tool.
Okay.
You get what I mean when I say that?
No.
So I use coffee as a tool. So, I mean, the intention for me is to always get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. But in real life, as human beings, that doesn't always happen. And so when that doesn't happen, I will couple 20 ounces of water. I start with 20 ounces of water, and then I'll take a few sips of coffee. When I say a few sips of coffee, I actually mean that. You can ask my wife. I rarely ever finish a cup of coffee because I'm using it as a tool. See, the part of the thing is most of what we have, we can use in moderation if we're able to control it. I had a show once where I said, are your tools using you or are you using the tools?
Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business. I have a couple of businesses.
Me too.
And so I drive a lot, so that makes me drink coffee.
Yeah, and consider that now you're in a cycle because your body's become dependent on it. And so you will have to go through a tough time. My client had to go through a tough time. It's something I can talk about in the future. Absolutely. I'll talk about how to kick habits. We'll talk about that. How's that sound? Okay.
Hello? I can't hear you. I didn't hear you.
I said we're going to talk about how to kick habits. How's that sound? How to kick bad habits. Okay.
Oh, have a good one.
All right. You too. Bye. All right. Great questions. Great way to end. Number 7 was planning, you all. And we're going to be talking about planning over the next 3 weeks, including next week. If you need help creating structures and plans to ensure that you're going to create what you intend to create in 2020, then you want to make sure you tune back in next week, 7 a.m.
Join Linal Harris every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. here on WVON 1690 AM.